We all know Goldberg was nearly unstoppable, a towering force of raw strength, speed, and brutality. But there were 10 matches where he thought he might actually die in the ring. So let's dive in. From the first bell at WCW Halloween Havoc 1998, Goldberg's collision with Diamond Dallas Page was a showcase of raw power meeting tactical resilience. DDP, a seasoned veteran known for his cunning ring psychology and top rope dropkicks, tried to slow Goldberg's juggernaut momentum early. Goldberg's explosive intensity quickly became the dominant force, driving DDP into corners with crushing shoulder tackles and violent spears, before launching into his signature sequence of spears, followed by the brutal jackhammer finish. The bout was physical and hard-hitting with precise execution from both men, but only modest blood drawn. The emphasis was on raw, impactful offense rather than gore. Every thrust of Goldberg's shoulders and slam of DDP's back underscored the unstoppable aura Goldberg carried during this peak run. The crowd reacted energetically to each impactful move, and the final jackhammer brought the bout to a decisive end. This match is considered one of Goldberg's cleaner yet powerful main event performances in WCW. In one of the most historically significant bouts of Goldberg's career, his clash with Hulk Hogan on the July 6, 1998 edition of WCW Monday Nitro is best remembered for its sheer impact rather than extended in-ring time. Goldberg, riding an ever-building undefeated streak, faced Hogan, arguably the biggest wrestling name of the era, in front of an electric arena crowd. From the opening moments, Hogan tried to dictate the pace with trademark big boots and leg drops, but Goldberg's raw physical power changed the dynamics of every exchange. Spears came like thunderbolts, and Goldberg's relentless pursuit dismantled Hogan's offense quickly. After a series of massive spear hits, Goldberg lifted Hogan for another power slam and locked in the decisive jackhammer finish, driving Hogan to the mat and cementing a big moment victory. This wasn't a blood-soaked fight, but it was brutally physical in terms of force, with every Goldberg attack feeling monumental. The bout only lasted around 15 minutes, but its resonance, the undefeated force of Goldberg overpowering a legend like Hogan, is one of the definitive moments of WCW's Monday Night Wars. The match with Sid Vicious at Halloween Havoc 1999 stands as one of the bloodiest and most violent of Goldberg's early career. Right from the opening lockup, this encounter devolved into a no-holds-barred brawl, with Sid, already a large and intimidating competitor, trading vicious shots with Goldberg. Both men hit with pronounced force, and the physicality quickly escalated beyond standard wrestling offense. Sid began bleeding heavily early and relentlessly, soaking his trunks and hair as the match carried on, and he refused treatment or to be eased, a choice that visibly soaked the ring with blood and forced the referee to halt competition due to excessive blood loss. Goldberg delivered multiple spears and jackhammer combinations, driving the pace with overpowering force, while Sid continued to swing back with an intensity that only amplified the bout's brutal edge. The referee's stoppage underscored the extremely violent nature of this contest, making it one of the most intense, blood-soaked matches Goldberg ever participated in during his WCW tenure. Goldberg's encounter against Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner from WCW New Blood Rising, August 13, 2000, was a chaotic, uneven, and controversial triple threat bout that reflected WCW's volatile booking at the time. The match was structured as a #1 contender contest, but the setup and execution were marred by work-shoot friction. Goldberg did not enter until partway through the match, leading commentators to explain the narrative as partly due to a storyline motorcycle accident. Once Goldberg entered, the physicality ramped up. He nailed opponents with heavy chair shots early and engaged in spurts of hard strikes and power maneuvers, but the slow build and disjointed pacing created a fragmented contest. Goldberg walked out mid-match, refusing Nash's jackknife powerbomb setup, scripted tension. Ultimately, Nash pinned Steiner after a jackknife powerbomb sequence, securing his advancement. Match details from WCW New Blood Rising 2000 results confirm the outcome and chaotic execution. While this bout is rarely highlighted for cleanliness or dramatic storytelling, it emphasized Goldberg's raw physical intensity, even within a turbulent multi-man environment, and remains a documented part of his WCW chronology. At WCW Fall Brawl on September 17, 2000, Goldberg faced Scott Steiner in a brutal no disqualification match that showcased both men's aggressive offense and capacity for violence under hardcore stipulations. Steiner, sporting protective headgear from prior storyline injuries, immediately brought a stiff striking game, launching elbows and clotheslines that punctuated the early exchanges. Goldberg responded with powerful shoulder tackles and power slams that echoed throughout the arena, establishing the hard-hitting tone of the bout. The no disqualification format allowed ringside interference and weapon use, including chair shots and lead pipe strikes, which intensified the physical impact. Steiner stood tall in many sequences, applying his trademark Steiner recliner submission hold multiple times and driving Goldberg into ringside structures. Ultimately, Steiner's relentless offense and added interference culminated in him wearing Goldberg down enough to secure the victory. Fall Brawl's official results list Steiner defeating Goldberg in a no DQ match, cementing this intense clash in WCW's 2000 pay-per-view history. This bout, lasting roughly 14 minutes, was one of Goldberg's most physically demanding WCW matches, combining stiff strikes, hardcore elements, and punishment that aligned with that era's hard-edge style. Goldberg's mid-2000 feud with Scott Steiner spilled onto WCW Nitro and television, extending their rivalry beyond pay-per-view into regular weekly programming. In this Nitro episode, Goldberg and Steiner met inside a caged heat steel cage, a real televised match that lasted roughly 4 minutes 46 seconds. Steiner initially tried to ground Goldberg with stiff offense, trading shots and working power-based maneuvers as the cage surrounded them. Goldberg responded by driving Steiner into the sides of the structure and using clotheslines and heavy slams to regain the momentum. Steiner fought back with belly-to-belly and uppercut strikes, but Goldberg absorbed the offense and kept coming forward with explosive shoulder blocks and a power slam sequence. At one point, Steiner attempted to gain an advantage with the help of a foreign object, but Goldberg countered and chased him back into the ring area. The match's decisive moment came when Goldberg cut Steiner off with a spear and then hit his signature jackhammer inside the cage, scoring the fall and exit victory. The finish was cleanly recorded in the official Nitro results, marking Goldberg as the winner of this caged heat encounter. This televised steel cage bout underscored the raw power and intensity both men brought to the ring during WCW's final year of regular Nitro programming. When Goldberg first met Chris Jericho at WWE Bad Blood on June 15, 2003, it marked a collision of two performers with reputations for intensity, but very different in-ring approaches. Goldberg, newly arrived to WWE after leaving WCW earlier that year, brought overwhelming physical force. Jericho countered with technical strategy and veteran savvy. The match's opening exchanges saw Jericho targeting Goldberg's arm and shoulder, using drop kicks and leveraged holds to slow Goldberg's momentum and create openings for his own offense. As the bout progressed, Goldberg responded with his trademark power strikes, spears, and explosive clotheslines, punctuated by his signature jackhammer finish that secured the pinfall. Historically, this match is noted for how it blended Jericho intelligence with Goldberg's brute force, giving fans a rare instance of Goldberg working through targeted offense rather than overwhelming strength alone. The crowd reaction and intensity, coupled with Jericho's selling and strategic pacing, made this one of Goldberg's more physical WWE encounters of that year. Goldberg vs. Triple H, WWE Unforgiven, September 21st, 2003. At WWE Unforgiven 2003, Goldberg faced Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship in a high-stakes confrontation that blended physicality with narrative tension. The contest opened with both men exchanging hard strikes and shoulder tackles, establishing early that this would be a strategic and punishing affair. Triple H, already deep into his championship reign, used a mix of targeted leg attacks, chop blocks, and power suplexes to wear down Goldberg and slow his momentum. Goldberg answered with bursts of aggression, impactful clotheslines, crushing slams, and a spear that shifted the match's balance several times. The turning point saw Triple H using his signature sledgehammer after a distraction, which opened a path for Goldberg to recover and deliver a massive spear, followed by a decisive jackhammer for the pinfall victory and the World Heavyweight Championship. The bout's physicality stood out through stiff strikes and power exchanges that defined the intensity of this championship match, while telling a clear story of resiliency and strategic escalation. One of Goldberg's most anticipated clashes in WWE was his encounter with The Rock at WWE Backlash on April 27, 2003, a match that doubled as Goldberg's first marquee WWE showdown. From the opening lockup, The Rock used his ring experience and timing to counter Goldberg's early power moves, leading Goldberg to innovate within his offense and adapt his typical forward momentum. The match's storytelling featured The Rock targeting Goldberg's offense with counters like spinebusters, a sharpshooter attempt, and a people's elbow for a near fall, while Goldberg hit multiple spears to drive back The Rock's momentum. The decisive sequence saw Goldberg connect with 2 spears, followed by his iconic jackhammer to score the pinfall. This bout was significant not only for its star power matchup, but for how Goldberg integrated reactions to The Rock's crowd psychology and varied offense into his typically power-driven style. The Rock's deft selling of Goldberg's spears and Goldberg's repeated power finishes made this a dynamic and memorable collision of 2 generational forces. Goldberg's encounter with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33 is widely considered one of the most intense and celebrated bursts of action in his later career. Unlike many of Goldberg's earlier stalemates, this match was a short, high-velocity sprint packed with impactful impacts and high-stakes drama. Lesnar, an accomplished mixed-style powerhouse and prolific suplex artist, opened with multiple German suplexes that drove Goldberg backward but failed to fully slow his momentum. Goldberg responded with a series of crushing spears that drew massive crowd reactions, punctuating each strike with authority. The climax came after several near falls and explosive counters, with Lesnar ultimately delivering an F5 to finish Goldberg and win the Universal Championship. This match's intensity derived from the contrast of Lesnar's technical suplex sequences and Goldberg's brutal spear bursts, creating a collision that felt like raw, kinetic energy from bell to bell. Fans and critics alike highlight its brisk pacing, impactful collision moments, and how both competitors continued their legacy of dominating performances.